Now, what's missing from this army? Oh, I know. And I bet you do too. Now say it with me. That's right, Crypteks. But there's too many to choose from. To help us, let's consult the book. Now there's 6 to choose from. We've got the one from the book, the big fancy one, the really good one, the 5-up invuln one, the spooky one, and the other one. Now, everyone's seen these two a million times. Because, you know, they're good. But who doesn't love an underdog? And using the official Cryptek popularity tier list, we can determine who's most popular, least popular, and I've literally never heard of before. Unsurprisingly, the 3 most popular are the 2 good ones and the really cool model. But the 3 least popular are the 2 not very good ones and the one with the disgusting model. And then we've got a 3rd tier, who I'm pretty sure are made up. And thanks to this, we've got 3 unloved Crypteks to make. Wait, what's this up here? Oh, that's weird. It's not wrong though. Oh, it's the scary Cryptek, as shown by his really big, weird digitally skull. I mean, who's not going to be scared of that on a battlefield? I must warn you, the Psychomancer has worked his spooky magic, so in this section there might be some scary surprises, so be brave. Oh, a spooky ghost. This must be the work of that tricksy Psychomancer. What's he like? Oh, sorry about that spooky little distraction. Here he is, all built. Now, it wasn't as fun as you'd think to build. The legs are quite flimsy, and there was a nightmarish amount of mould lines. But maybe that's his plan. Scare you with the mould line removal step? Either way, he's looking great. His skull's all scully. And he's actually quite tall. I don't know how I'm going to put him in a box, but maybe he'll live with Lanky Larry. Either way, next up, after he's primed, it's the fun step. Remember to give your primer a nice warm bath beforehand. For this scheme, we'll be using these paints. Now let's go over each step for painting one Psycho. Oh god, his trickery, he's sped it up. Null, and use the last video if you want to see the scheme. Sorry about that. Now, I'm not a painter, and I refuse to highlight a single edge, but I think he's looking pretty good. He was quick to paint, he was a lot of fun. I couldn't be bothered to do anything fancy with the skull, so I just painted it block white, and hoped that just natural shadows would do the work of a good painter. He's my scary boy. Huh? What? Oh god! Not the precious Null. Oh. That's strange. Oh, you tricksy Psychomancer. Scaring me for nothing. Ah, back to the Psychomancer. Now I should probably tell you a bit about his lore. I read the little paragraph under his picture, I googled him and read some wikis, and honestly there's not a lot to know. He studies fear, which you'd have to think can't be that useful for Necrons because they don't feel fear, so he's only really useful in war. But either way, he uses his special skills to trigger primal fear instincts in minds of biological creatures, and that's about it. He's a Cryptek, so he's kept around in courts of lords and overlords, but other than that, you've just learned everything there is to know about Psychomancers. But what we can talk about is his rules. Now, there is a reason no one really plays Psychomancers. One, because they're not in any discount box, but also, they're rules. They've got the standard, really quite bad stat line with 1 attack and a 4-up save. They've got a very close range leadership debuff, and a rule that looks really complicated, but you'll basically, if you're within 12, you might be able to turn off OBSEC, and then die on the next turn. They've got a very weird weapon with high AP and not much else, and that's about it. But hey, I'm still one proud owner of a Psychomancer. Thanks. Okay, so this isn't an Orikan. This is some special lad that my FOMO made me buy because I'm weak. He's called Camotep the Crooked, and he's from sometime in 2021 as a store anniversary special event thing. Here's him in an article on Warhammer Community, but in that article it does say you can slot him into your Necron army in place of your regular Cryptek. I don't know what that means exactly, because any Cryptek, so he could be a Technomancer, which is a much bigger base, but he does look a little like Orikan, so for me, he's Orikan. Now, I really want to use an Orikan in my army, because I read one whole book, and he's a great character with kind of fun rules, but the real model is a war crime. I'm going to show him briefly on screen, but be warned, it's a sorry sight. Oh, it's gone. Okay. Whew. Sorry about that, everyone. Now, because I got him so long ago, he's already built and primed. It was quite a simple build, nothing annoying about him, and he's quite sturdy, like he's a thick lad. But that means we can jump straight to the painting. But before then, why don't we learn a little about the book he's in? In Lore Corner. Our hero Orikan was the best Cryptek around. He could control time, navigate the stars, and solve complex sums. In all the galaxy, only one Necron was his equal. The Overlord Trazyn the Infinite. Both Orikan and Trazyn wanted to get into a legendary tomb world, buried deep in the planet of Serenade, that only opens every few thousand years. Annoyingly, Serenade was populated by Exodites, who took good care of the planet. Ugh. Thankfully though, some humans came along, which made the Exodites sad, so they flew away and never came back. The humans did their favourite thing, and made the planet much less green. This made them very happy. Then one day some orcs came along, looking for water to cool their engines. So they drank nearly all the oceans. And then flew off happily. While Trazyn and Orikan were living on the planet, they left a friendly gene stealer as a prank, who quickly made the population much more limmy. So when the Imperium came along to see how everything was going, they had no choice but to exterminate the whole planet. This meant Orikan and Trazyn had free access to their prize. And so, after all that, the two of them lived happily ever after. The end. Thanks. And here he is, our fake Orikan. He's a lot of fun to paint. It was really simple, no tricksy hidden areas really. The one problem is that he's not available anymore, so I can't say go out and buy one. So sorry about that. Either way, if they do ever make a new Orikan, this guy will be back to being a normal Cryptek. But for now, he's my Orikan. But now we've learnt about his lore, what he's like to build and paint, there's one final thing to talk about. His rules. He's basically a slightly more interesting Chronomancer, but also slightly worse. He's more expensive, doesn't fly, doesn't have a gun, can't take Cryptek Arcana, or any relics or warlord traits. However, he can turn into his alter ego superhero form, that through the power of planetary alignment, he can be Plasma Boy, which doesn't have its own model, although I imagine it would look something like the Transcendent Catan, which is sadly saddled with the £100 Obelisk kit that no one on Earth has ever bought. In the unlikely event he does turn into his alter ego, he gets a little bit punchier, but still not very punchy. The other benefit he has is he can give his buff anything Necron, not just Dynasty locked. So he could give it to some Triarch Praetorians, which is something. Hopefully in the future he'll get a new exciting model with 2 forms, like that snake lady from AOS. But for now, we know there's 2 reasons why no one takes Orikan. Sad. And here we have the humble Plasmancer. Not a Plasmamancer, but a Plasmancer. So a Psychomancer is all about mental stuff, Chrono is time, Techno is technology, and this is apparently about Plas. So that's fun. It's a great little model. He's on a tiny base, he looks like a robot Nighthaunt. Now for this, I got 2 from Indomitus and 1 from an Imperium magazine. So I'm going to build 3, so I can have the maximum amount of plasma zapping around the table. Let's build some. It's a really nice build. Hardly any pieces, not too many mould lines. However, there's only one head option, and that just won't do. So we'll need help from your friend and mine, the Conversion Master. From a Chronomancer who isn't in this video, so don't worry about him. We can swap the heads, making them very slightly different, even though all Cryptek heads basically look the same. To begin with, I used a little drill I bought off Amazon, and tried to drill a hole in the back of the heads that would fit on the little bobble that you'd glue the head to. This was going well, until I realised it didn't really fit, so I snipped it off, and snipped the back of the head off, and glued them together, the end. And this has been another lesson from the Conversion Master. Then I did it one more time, and I got 3 beautiful Plasmancers. Now that they're technically different, we can stick them on a stick, and cover them in shiny lead belcher. Now it's the fun bit. You might not be surprised to hear, but there's not a lot of lore about the Plasmancer. I did my usual, read the book, do some googling, but really all I could determine is that they bloody love plasma. So, knowing they shoot lightning and love plasma, I had to work out if lightning was plasma. Thanks to Google, I now know lightning counts as plasma, and we know that Plasmancers love plasma, so we can safely say Plasmancers love lightning. Now I know that's a lot of lore to take in, so here's a little extra. Most Crypteks have long chains they wear around their body. Plasmancers show this off the best. Once Crypteks have done certain deeds, they add links to these chains, until eventually they get really, really long and annoying. The best way to think of this is if you've read Game of Thrones, or watched the show, the Maester's chains are basically the exact same idea. But there you go, 2 bits of lore, wow, how greedy. Thanks. And here they are, our 3 Plasmancers, all pointing proudly, ready to shoot lightning at whoever they want. Maybe lightning's a good thing to a Necron, who knows. They're quite fun to paint. They're small, so it's quite quick. They take a lot of different colours, but there's some quite tricksy hidden away bits because of those chains. And the canisters on the back are kind of fiddly and hard to reach. But other than that, it was great. For 3 leaders, it took hardly any time. And I know that someone who can paint well would do these amazingly. The thing I'm curious though, honestly, I don't really know much about their rules even. So let's read them. Okay, they're weirdly kind of nearly good. They're stuck with the not great stat line, and the 1 attack is kind of sad. But the weapon is strangely good. Strength 7, AP 3, damage 2, and there's some much needed mortal wounds if you don't have a Catan. They've got quite a risky one, which needs to be 6 inches range, and a slightly better one that's a 24-inch range. Overall, I don't really get why people don't use them. They're cheap, they fly, they're Crypteks. Someone needs to do some further research on the old Plasmancer. But not today. Right now, I'm just happy with having 3 new painted Plasmancers. Yay. Although, does that mean we're done? Hey, what a journey we've been on today. Our new lads fit in well with the warriors, even though they don't really have any synergy together, because that's okay. Wait a second. Now we've got 11, 22, 33, 44, 1,940, 2,000 points. We can do the thing everyone does. All I need now is some other little plastic people to have a war with. Oh, that was lucky. Some terrifying Black Templars to kill, with an amazing banner carrying dread. And my quite warrior heavy lads, we lined up, ready for battle, and ran into each other to see who'd punch the other to death. Lanky Larry doing 0 damage all game. And obviously. And to commemorate my 2nd ever video, we'll place a precious artifact upon the wall. And for the last time, thanks.